Phase plants from kiloHearts is something of a sandbox synth, presenting users with an empty space in which they can build whatever instrument they like, using the various elements offered by its onboard toolkit. Because it presents users with an empty space when they first open it up, it can be a little bit daunting for new users. But it's actually really easy to add elements and string them together to get creative with your own instruments. To see how this works in action, let's build a classic analog style polysynth. So we're going to start here in this generator section. This is where we add oscillators and other elements such as filters and some modulators. It's kind of the main hub of phase plant. So by clicking, I get this drop down here, and we're going to go with analog. What this gives us is this group, which is effectively a virtual analog oscillator and an amp section with its own ADSR envelope. So we get control over kind of classic analog style wave shapes here, along with things like sync, a unison control, which we can use to add detune and extra voices, plus control over tuning and phase. So if we have a little play around with this and hit play. So yeah, very basic, but the kind of basic element of a analog style synth there. So let's add a filter to this. We still do this in this generator section. We're going to click under here and select filter, which gives us a kind of standard multi-mode filter here. Now, because we've clicked beneath this original group, by default phase plant has added that after the amp section here, which means currently it gives us, currently it's not affecting the output here. To change that, we need to drag the filter so it sits between our oscillator and our amp section. Next, let's add some modulation for some classic old school analog style vibrato. We're going to do that in this modulators window down here. You click it and add an LFO, which gives us this standard LFO here. Modulation routing is set up by clicking this orange logo here, which brings us up all of these destinations that we can route our LFO to. So route this to the semi-cent, which is our pitch modulation of this oscillator here. Now this bouncing little icon here shows us how rapidly and by how much our LFO is modulating whatever destination we sent it to. So you can see it's quite extreme at the moment. We can take this down by putting that down there, and we can slow it down or speed it up here. And we can change modulation amounts. This little icon here as well, we can use this drop down menu to change the modulation from bipolar to unipolar or inverted. Stick with bipolar here. So next, let's add some more oscillators to thicken up this sound. What we can do here is by holding Alt and dragging this oscillator here into the slot below, we've basically just duplicated this oscillator with all of the routings and modulation intact. So now we can, for example, I can now tune that above. Change the wave shape. these level controls here to mix the two. Let's also add a noise generator. You can do that by clicking here. And again, we want to drag this so it sits before a filter and amp here. And we've got a variety of noise types here that we can use. And a level control as well. To finish things off, let's add an ADSR envelope here, which we're going to route to the filter cutoff. Again, by clicking this modulation icon and dragging some modulation here. Let's have this one a bit more extreme than our vibrato. So that's the makeup of a basic analog style polysynth. We can then take this further by adding effects in these 3 effect lanes here, or add completely different oscillator types such as wavetable oscillators or samplers to get a bit more complicated. But that's the basics of how to string things together in Phase Plant. Thanks for watching.